Your voice can open doors or close them before you even realize they were there. Think about it. Two people can have the exact same intelligence, the same ideas, the same dreams, and yet one gets noticed while the other gets ignored. Why? Because one learned how to speak with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Your words are not just sounds. They are power. They are influence. They are opportunities waiting to happen. Every day, people judge confidence before they judge competence. Not because confidence makes someone smarter, but because confidence makes people listen. Have you ever had an amazing idea but stayed silent? Have you ever started speaking and suddenly lost your train of thought? Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking, "That's not what I wanted to say"? You're not alone. Most people believe confident speakers are born with a gift. They imagine articulate people naturally know the perfect words, never hesitate, never feel nervous. That belief is wrong. Speaking clearly is not talent. It is a skill that can be learned. The truth is, articulate people are not speaking faster, they are thinking better. They are not louder, they are more intentional. They are not fearless, they simply know how to communicate despite fear. And once you understand this, everything changes. Because confidence isn't hidden inside your personality. It's hidden inside habits. The way you organize your thoughts, the way you pause, the way you choose words, the way you trust yourself enough to speak. Imagine walking into any room and expressing yourself without second guessing. Imagine interviews where your words flow naturally. Imagine conversations where people actually stop and listen. Imagine becoming someone whose presence feels calm, strong, and impossible to ignore. That version of you already exists. It doesn't require changing who you are. It requires strengthening how you communicate. Today, you're going to discover 6 powerful principles that can transform the way you speak, help you become more articulate, and allow your voice to carry the confidence that has always been inside you. Stay until the end, because one shift in the way you speak can change the way the world responds to you. If you're ready to strengthen your voice and speak with confidence, hit subscribe and begin your transformation today. Most people think speaking confidently means speaking quickly. It doesn't. In fact, one of the biggest reasons people struggle to sound articulate is because they speak before they think. They rush, they react, they fill silence because silence feels uncomfortable. And in that rush, their message loses power. Confident speakers understand something most people ignore: your mind must lead your mouth. Before words become clear, thoughts must become clear. When your thoughts are scattered, your speech becomes scattered. When your thoughts are calm, your words become powerful. Think about the moments when you felt nervous speaking. Maybe you started talking and forgot your point. Maybe you repeated yourself. Maybe you said too much because you were afraid of not saying enough. That usually doesn't happen because you lack intelligence. It happens because your brain is moving faster than your communication. The solution is simple but powerful. Slow down, not because you know less. Slow down because your words deserve direction. Articulate people give themselves permission to think. They don't treat conversations like races. They pause, they choose, they speak. A short pause before answering doesn't make you look weak, it makes you look intentional. That moment of silence tells people you value your words. And people value speakers who value their own words. Start practicing this in everyday conversations. Before answering a question, take 1 second. Ask yourself, what am I really trying to say? What is the simplest way to say it? What feeling do I want my words to create? That small habit changes everything. Because clarity is not created while speaking. Clarity is created before speaking. Another powerful shift is learning to stop chasing perfect words. Many people freeze because they want every sentence to sound impressive. But confidence doesn't come from perfection. Confidence comes from trust. Trust that you can express your thoughts without needing to sound flawless. Simple language spoken clearly will always be more powerful than complicated language spoken with uncertainty. And remember this, people rarely remember every word you say. They remember how your words made them feel. Did you sound certain? Did you sound present? Did you sound clear? That is what stays with them. The next time you speak, resist the urge to rush. Take ownership of your pace. Give your thoughts room to breathe. Because when you think before you speak, your words stop competing for attention and start commanding it. One of the fastest ways to become more articulate is to stop trying to sound impressive and start trying to sound clear. Many people believe confident speakers use complicated words, long explanations, or perfect sentences. But that's rarely true. The most powerful communicators are usually the simplest. They don't speak to prove intelligence. They speak to create understanding. And that changes everything. Have you ever listened to someone talk for several minutes and still had no idea what they were trying to say? They used big words. They kept talking, but nothing connected. Now think about someone who explains something in a few simple sentences and suddenly everything made sense. That is articulation. Being articulate isn't about saying more, it's about saying what matters. The truth is, unclear speech often comes from unclear thinking. When people are uncertain, they add extra words, they repeat themselves, they over-explain, they fill silence because they think more words mean more confidence. But confidence doesn't need decoration. Confidence needs clarity. Your goal when speaking should not be to sound smart. Your goal should be to be understood. Because communication is not complete when you finish speaking. Communication is complete when the other person understands. Start noticing how you explain things. When sharing an idea, ask yourself, can I say this more simply? Can I remove unnecessary words? Can I make this easier to understand? This doesn't make your speech weaker. It makes it stronger. Clear speakers also focus on one idea at a time. Many people lose confidence because they try to communicate 10 thoughts at once. Their sentences become crowded. Their message disappears. Slow down and stay with one point. Finish the thought, then move to the next. Your audience should never have to work hard to understand you. Another habit that makes people sound more confident is replacing uncertain language. Instead of saying, I don't know if this makes sense, say, here's what I think. Instead of, this might be a bad idea, say, here's one possibility. Small changes in wording create a huge difference in presence. And remember, clarity isn't about speaking less. It's about removing what doesn't belong. You do not need sophisticated vocabulary to earn respect. You do not need complicated language to sound intelligent. People trust speakers who communicate clearly because clarity shows understanding. When your message becomes simple, your confidence becomes visible. And when your confidence becomes visible, people stop focusing on your words and start believing them. One habit separates people who sound confident from people who constantly struggle to express themselves. They become comfortable with silence. Most people fear pauses. The moment a conversation becomes quiet, they panic. They start speaking faster. They fill empty space with unnecessary words. They say like, and repeat themselves because silence feels uncomfortable. But silence is not your enemy. Silence is one of the strongest tools a confident speaker can use. Think about powerful speakers you've listened to. They don't rush from sentence to sentence. They pause. They let ideas land. They allow people time to absorb what was said. That pause creates presence, and presence creates confidence. When you speak without pauses, your words can feel rushed and uncertain. When you pause with intention, your words feel deliberate. People assume confident speakers always know exactly what to say. That's not always true. The difference is they don't panic when thinking. They stay calm enough to let silence exist. And that calmness changes how people perceive them. Many people believe speaking quickly makes them appear intelligent. But speed is not clarity. Speed is not authority. A person speaking slowly and clearly often sounds more confident than someone speaking fast and trying to prove something. Your pace communicates before your words do. When you rush, you tell people you're afraid of losing attention. When you stay composed, you show that your message deserves attention. Start practicing intentional pauses. Pause before answering questions. Pause after important points. Pause instead of using filler words. You don't need to eliminate every hesitation. You just need to stop apologizing for thinking. At first, silence may feel awkward. You might feel like people are judging you. But most of the time, that pressure exists only in your mind. To others, your pause usually looks thoughtful, not nervous. Another powerful shift is learning to breathe before speaking. When people get anxious, breathing becomes shallow. Thoughts become scattered. Words become rushed. One calm breath can instantly slow your mind and improve your clarity. Your voice becomes steadier. Your thoughts become easier to organize. Your confidence becomes easier to feel. And here's something important to remember. Not every moment needs to be filled. Strong communication is not constant talking. Strong communication is knowing when to speak and when to allow space. Because silence doesn't weaken your message. It gives your message weight. The next time you speak, don't race to fill every second. Pause, think, speak with intention. Because the person who controls silence often controls the conversation. One of the biggest misunderstandings about confident speaking is the belief that confidence begins with words. It doesn't. Confidence begins long before you open your mouth. It begins in your body. People often focus only on what they want to say while ignoring how they appear when they say it. But communication is more than vocabulary. Your posture speaks. Your eyes speak. Your facial expressions speak. Your energy speaks. And sometimes people decide whether to trust your message before they even process your words. Have you ever noticed how different you feel depending on your posture? When your shoulders collapse, your breathing becomes shallow. Your voice becomes weaker. Your thoughts become smaller. But when you stand upright, breathe deeply, and become aware of your presence, something changes. Your mind begins to follow your body. You feel more grounded, more stable, more capable. This doesn't mean you need to look perfect or become someone you're not. Confident communication isn't performance, it's alignment. It's making your body and your words work together. Think about eye contact. Many people avoid it because they feel nervous. They look down, they look away, they disconnect. But eye contact is not about staring, it's about connection. When you maintain calm, natural eye contact, your words feel more believable. People feel that you mean what you say. Your message gains strength. Another overlooked habit is controlling physical tension. Nervous speakers often hold intelligent, calm, and articulate. Listening gives you something incredibly valuable: time. time to think, time to organize your thoughts, time to choose better words. Instead of reacting instantly, allow yourself to absorb what was said. You don't need to answer immediately. A short pause after someone speaks can make your response more meaningful. Another powerful shift is becoming curious. Many conversations become awkward because people are focused on performance. They want to sound impressive. But curiosity removes pressure. When you become genuinely interested, your communication becomes more natural. Ask yourself, what is this person actually trying to say? What emotion is behind these words? What question would move this conversation forward? The more present you become, the easier speaking becomes. Because confidence grows when attention moves away from yourself. You stop worrying about sounding perfect. You start focusing on creating connection. And connection creates better communication. Also remember this, being articulate does not mean having an answer for everything. Strong communicators are comfortable saying, "That's interesting. Tell me more. I need a moment to think about that." Those phrases don't weaken your presence. They strengthen it. Because confidence isn't pretending to know everything. Confidence is being secure enough to engage honestly. When you learn to listen without rushing, speak without forcing, and respond with intention, your words stop sounding rehearsed and start sounding powerful. The final shift that transforms the way you speak is understanding that confidence is built through repetition, not perfection. So many people stay silent because they believe they need to become confident before they start speaking. But confidence doesn't arrive first. Action does. Every confident speaker you admire was once uncomfortable. Every articulate person once struggled to explain ideas. Every powerful voice once shook. The difference is not that they were fearless. The difference is that they kept speaking anyway. Too many people wait for the perfect moment. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until they have the perfect words. They wait until nervousness disappears. And while they wait, opportunities move forward without them. The truth is, speaking confidence grows the same way any skill grows, through practice. Not dramatic practice. Consistent practice. Small moments repeated again and again. You don't need a stage. You need participation. Speak up in conversations. Share your opinion. Ask questions. Explain ideas. Practice expressing thoughts even when it feels uncomfortable. Because every time you speak, you teach your brain something important. I can do this. At first, your words may feel awkward. You may lose your train of thought. You may replay conversations in your mind afterward. That's normal. Do not confuse imperfection with failure. Every attempt is progress. Another powerful habit is to stop judging yourself while speaking. Many people become nervous because they are trying to monitor every detail. How do I sound? Did I say that correctly? Do they think I'm smart? Do I look nervous? That constant self-evaluation destroys natural communication. Confident speakers are not thinking about themselves all the time. They are focused on delivering value. Shift your attention outward. Ask, how can I communicate this clearly? How can I help people understand? How can I connect? When your mission becomes stronger than your fear, your confidence begins to grow. And don't underestimate daily practice. Read aloud. Record yourself speaking. Summarize what you learned each day. Tell stories. Practice explaining simple ideas clearly. You're not training your voice. You're training trust in yourself. Over time, something surprising happens. You stop overthinking. Your words become smoother. Your mind becomes calmer. Speaking starts to feel natural. Not because fear disappeared, but because your confidence became stronger than fear. And one day, you'll realize something important. You didn't become articulate overnight. You became articulate one conversation at a time, one sentence at a time, one courageous moment at a time. And that is how confident voices are built. Your voice is more powerful than you think, not because it is louder, not because it is perfect, but because it carries your thoughts, your ideas, your values, and the version of yourself the world gets to experience. For too long, many people have stayed quiet, not because they had nothing to say, but because they doubted the way they said it. They waited to feel more confident, more prepared, more articulate. But now you know the truth. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build. You build it when you think before you speak. You build it when you choose clarity over complexity. You build it when you become comfortable with silence. You build it when your body and your voice begin working together. You build it when you listen deeply. And most importantly, you build it every single time you speak, even when you feel nervous. Remember this, people are not waiting for a perfect version of you. They are waiting for the real version of you, the version that speaks honestly, the version that trusts its own ideas, the version that stops apologizing for taking up space. Your words matter. Your perspective matters. Your voice can open doors.